Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching a clip from the Sideline podcast. Make sure to go give us a follow over on Apple Music and Spotify. Leave us a 5-star review whilst you're at it. It'd be very much appreciated. And enjoy the little segment. Do you reckon Newcastle will get top 4?
Obviously, the next game is huge in terms of we are recording this before Tottenham game. Yes, I think we will finish 4th, but I've also got a prediction that Chelsea might somehow win the Champions League and mess it up in typical Newcastle style.
Imagine Frank Lampard. I mean, we'll get on the whole recruitment, but imagine if Frank Lampard wins the Champions League.
And we finish 4th. So everyone's on a high. We're buzzing. We're thinking we're going to sign Jude Bellingham and all this stuff because we're finally in the Champions League and financial fair play restrictions aren't lifted, but they become a lot easier. And then, Lampard somehow wins the Champions League and we're in the Europa League.
I mean, obviously it's a disappointment. Well, not a disappointment. It sounds disappointing that you might drop out of top 4 and you might get Europe. Let's be honest, it's still an incredible... no one expected any European football for Newcastle.
We could. I mean, even now we could finish 7th, and the fans would still be. We would be a little bit dejected because of where we are at this stage of the season. But if you go back, what's the season been on? 7, 8, 9 months, whatever it is. You could go back that amount of time, and say you'll finish 8th, and we'd be buzzing. So we were fighting relegation last year. Literally, we give everybody else a 15-game head start. Nobody give us a chance of staying up. We're getting all this stick about you're going to be the richest club in the championship. Nobody's going to come and join you when you get relegated. All this stuff. Trippier's came to play in the championship. All that stuff to be 3rd in the league. And there was a period I remember listening to radio stations and other podcasts where I was like, "Oh my God, people are talking about us in a title challenge with City and Arsenal." So no matter what happens, really, it would be amazing. Would it be nice to have Champions League? It would be incredible. Europa League, I'd be buzzing with them. Nights would be class. It's since 2013 since we've had any European football, so it's a long time to go for a club again. I know we'll come on to this later on, but a club of Newcastle's size to go pretty much 10 years without European football is a long time.
I mean, already reaching a final this season after Eddie Howe coming from near enough. I remember last season in particular, whenever a relegation battle got spoke of, Newcastle were up there. Obviously, Everton were there as well back last season, and then Eddie Howe takes charge, and just from there onwards, you've turned into this. I mean, St James's is more of a fortress than ever. Nobody wants to play there at this moment in time.
No.
Going from having Steve Bruce, obviously you can see from an outsider point of view, but how much has the atmosphere changed at St James's? Because watching it on TV, it looks incredible. So it must be even better in person.
It's incredible. You think of, I've been going to Newcastle games since 1998, 1999 onwards. So obviously quite a long time, and the atmosphere was great under Robson and stuff. But I feel like having, and hopefully you'll experience this as an Everton fan, hopefully sometime soon, but having them 14 years where the owner was just completely taking the mick out of our club and we weren't going anywhere. We were selling all of our best players left. We didn't blame them for leaving. It was like, yeah, we get it. We would leave too, even as fans. I think having that 14-year gap of just existing, that's all we were. We were just existing. We weren't challenging. We weren't worrying anybody. I think having that made this so much better. And again, the whole thing with the ownership and the human rights, I don't think anybody can, I feel like as much as it's important to be aware of that stuff, there's positives there as well in terms of we can have an effect. So, for example, the rainbow laces and stuff, when the owners see that might have an impact on their country when they look at, homosexuality and that type of stuff. So there's pros and cons there. Take all that stuff out of it. We've really won the lottery in terms of money, and it's not like the Saudis aren't running the club really, they're just funding it. We've got Amanda Staveley who's done amazing for the local community, talking about new training grounds, talking about just everything which comes out of the club at the minute is unbelievable. And in terms of atmospheres, it's probably the best. It is the best it's ever been, including when Robson was there. I do European football trips quite a bit, and I've been to Borussia Dortmund, Hertha Berlin, Valencia, Bernabeu, all these places I've been to. And apart from Borussia Dortmund, which is very, very close now, by the way, I would have said Dortmund had the best atmosphere easily when I went to see it. But
Yeah, unbelievable.
in terms of now, it's just amazing. Like we scored the second goal against Man United, and again, people were running up and down the stairs. The flags were going, and you just think this noise is incredible. I honestly feel like when we play at home, we have such a we do actually. It's corny, but we have a 12th man because it's like you can see that other players can't concentrate, they can't focus. They're too busy looking around, thinking, "Jesus, what's happening?" And then we're pressing high and we're catching them on the ball. Like we do have. It feels like at the minute the fans have an impact on the final result, and again that gets us more lively and louder than ever. I mean, the players feel it, and it's just at the minute it's cloud nine. Like we've literally timed the perfect to finally do this when Newcastle are, touch wood, bossing it. Now I've said that, I'm probably going to go on and lose 6 games in a row. But
you mentioned, like nobody seems to mess with him the whole Anthony Gordon. Are we only in them situations? You feel like only a high reputational manager like an Ancelotti, Mourinho kind of get that respect off the players. So it's to not disrespectful to Eddie Howe. I wouldn't say you'd put him on the level of Ancelotti and Mourinho in terms of management, but for him to come from being unemployed after Bournemouth to then come into the Newcastle team and getting that Newcastle team to tick after many years of defensive negative football and get that respect from your players, like I said, after not being a high reputational manager, is unbelievable.
I think again you hear loads of stuff from in and around the city and around the club. I think he just demands certain expectation. Again, I watched I don't know if you've watched it or if anyone who's watching this has watched it, but the High Performance podcast with Eddie Howe on there, like you can just see that he completely sets standards, and if you don't meet them standards, he's not afraid to pretty much show you up like he did with Ryan Fraser. Again, Fraser is being demoted to under 23s. He's not going to play for Newcastle United again. I don't know what was going on. He's kept it very quiet, and I love that it's private because for a long time, and you'll definitely know this from when you've been following football, but even from when I was following football in '98 and onwards and stuff, Newcastle's always been a circus. It's always been, again, as much as I love Kevin Keegan leaving on a helicopter, Keegan returning, the Keegan, I will love it if we beat them. Like that whole thing around Newcastle has been a circus. Mike Ashley changing the stadium name, statues, blah, blah, blah. It's always been a circus. And right now, nothing comes out until it's decided. So nobody knew Fraser and Howe were kind of having disagreements until it came out that he was not going to play for us again and he's going to be one of the 23s. And nobody knew we were going to sign Isaac until just bang out of the blue, there it was. Isaac signed. And I guess the takeover was part of the circus, but that's when it was rejected. We didn't actually find out it was going to happen until, we didn't really know. We knew the court case was happening, but it was bang out of the blue. It's done. We're there. So I feel like that's one of the best things Howe and probably Amanda Stapley have done since coming in, is they've completely shut out everything. It's all about Newcastle. It's what's best for the team. It's what's best for the players. But yeah, I think you talk about high reputation managers like Mourinho, it's easier for them. I feel like Howe eventually will be one of them high reputation managers. But I feel like when he's setting these standards and he's laying down the rules, I think he probably follows them. I know when he first came to the club, he was in at like 5 a.m. because there was no Newcastle fans waiting for him. He got in at 5 a.m. on his first day, and there was Newcastle fans waiting outside the training ground, and all the players left, and he didn't leave till like 9-10 p.m. And there's a good video on YouTube. I'll probably be able to find it and send it to you if we can share it and stuff. Or if not, just look it up yourself. Eddie Howe stops at like 10 o'clock at night and he gets out of it's like a band thing. He's like, "Why haven't you gone home? Like, what are you doing waiting around? It's freezing cold. Like, well, we wanted to see you. We just didn't realise you wouldn't leave and work until 10 p.m. So I think he sets the standards of, I'm here all the time, I'm doing my job, I'm trying to find the best way to win. I think he expects that from his players as well, which, again, I'm living in dreamland at the minute as a Newcastle fan. It's unbelievable.